Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us onto our next adventure. Hey, Tina, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Sue. It's really good to see you again, like on a regular basis.
I have to say, we had incredible weather today. It was sunny outside. We're still in February. This is crazy that we've got the sun going on and the great weather. Enjoying it. That's all I have to say.
And I feel completely opposite. I am so excited right now because it's going to snow. It's going to snow, and we might get 9 inches in the next couple of days. And all I can see is the ski slopes. Actually, from my window right now, I'm looking at the ski slopes, which I just cannot wait to go down. So
Wow,
I love the snow.
that's insane. We just went out and we wrapped our very delicate, cute little lime tree in
Oh,
so that it
yeah.
wouldn't get whipped by the wind. We're supposed to get 40 miles an hour gusts, and it's going to rain for the next few days. So I'm not
Uh,
feeling the same way you are, and I wouldn't like the snow, but it sounds beautiful.
yes. Yes. And my plan I don't think I can do it this year, but I want to get cross country skis. And then I'm 3 blocks away from the forest, so I can just ski to my favorite spot and trail and then ski it instead of hike it. That's
Oh,
my next year's plan.
my word, that sounds like a great retired plan.
Ah, thank you. And instead of treads, I'm going to get new skis.
That's right. That's what I was just going to say. We're on the same wavelength here. I like
Of
it.
course.
Hey, let's try another bit. I mean, we're introducing
Oh,
people to
give me a bit.
what our we're introducing people to what our little routines are going to be as good teachers that we are. Today's bit is about teaching strategies. Are you ready, Tina?
I'm ready.
Buckle your seatbelts. Here we
It's
go.
buckled.
What did you think of that sound effect?
It just drove me crazy.
All right. So anyhow, today we're going to unpack our toolkit. We always talk about teacher toolkits out of our
Always.
trunk, and we're going to use that and apply it to how we live our life today outside of
Mm.
teaching. So we're going to be talking today about active listening. Tina, take it away.
Uh, it was hilarious at the very tail end of my teaching career. We had to follow this script and everybody in all grade levels. And I'm thinking, I laughed, I mocked it, and it was on listening. And I thought, if you don't know how to listen by the time you're in 6th grade, like, what is the point? But when I sat down and followed the lesson, I was shocked. Kids don't know how to listen. And so I actually had to teach them, look at the person in the face, turn your body to look at their body, smile and nod. Don't cut them off every time they're talking. Don't talk to someone else when someone's already talking to you. It was amazing. And it was actually one of the most maybe worthwhile teaching things to do. So active listening, it's
I
important.
agree. And adults, we forget about it too. And I'm thinking,
We
yeah, and
do.
I'm thinking that we keep coming back to this topic, the idea of COVID times when everyone was living a different kind of reality, that we have to learn re-listening in a different way. It's pretty amazing.
Oh.
You know what?
Well, what do you give me an
So, I
example?
mean, if you're on Zoom and you're muted, you have to first of all, the assumption is you're on the Zoom conversation and you're not going to the bathroom and going to get a snack or something. You're not actively listening then. But
That's
then you
true.
come back and you forget to unmute yourself, and all that is part of listening, understanding where you are, what's going on. It's yeah.
And there's etiquette with Zoom too.
I
Absolutely.
heard one of my friends. They said their kid at college, they would, in order to prove that they were at school, they would just show the top part of their head, their forehead up, so that they could tell that there was somebody there. But they're not on, and that I get it. People didn't want to be seen in their shorts or their pajamas or their hair's not done or whatever. And that's all part of active listening, because if you're thinking, what's going on, what's behind you, what are you wearing, why are you that distracts you from
Oh,
being able
true.
to listen.
That's really true. I hadn't thought about that. That's
Well,
true.
and then active listening is really important for me. I'm finding it too, because I have a tendency to but
Admit it. What?
to butt in on people as they're talking. I get
Mm,
ideas, and I don't want to lose them.
yeah.
Like, they're so important to be shared. Well, bringing us to the podcast idea, I'm finding that we're able to have a conversation. It's pretty amazing. We're not overlapping and talking as much as I've heard on other podcasts. So
Oh,
that's a skill that you
it
got to
is.
use.
It is. And I think I've had the same issue because you don't want to have that thought elude you. And so it's hard to stay focused in the conversation, but try and remember what it is you're going to say. So it is a problem. It's not out of disrespect.
Absolutely. And one of the other things you were talking about the other day with me off podcast was repeating back what someone said.
Yes, so
At,
important.
yeah, as an instructional strategy, that's really important. But you think about it as a listening strategy with just anybody. It's saying, "I hear you," or
Yeah.
"Correct me if I'm hearing this wrong," or "What else do you want to add to it?"
So in a relationship, and when somebody is upset, that's the best thing you can do is say, I understand. I heard you say, and that's when you repeat it back. And you're right. It is acknowledging that person and that you took the time to really listen. So it's a good skill to use, especially I think in relationships.
In a relationship, if you hear back something, you're like, "Really? Did I say that? Oh gosh, that's not what I meant." Or, "Let me
Right.
be more precise." Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very effective at it. And imagine this as a part of a toolkit for kids to have this and develop this when they're young, when they're
Yeah.
to make this like as a routine in their way of interacting with people. That's so powerful. Okay, well, and then here's the other thing I was thinking about with regard to active listening in retirement, because we're always bringing this back to retired. When you're retired and you are no longer like on in your profession, you have a chance to sit back and listen to people a lot more actively. I found myself doing that. Have you?
Yeah, but is it because we're getting older and wiser? I hadn't thought of it
Well,
as a skill from teaching. I'm just thinking that I'm observing. Yes, I'm a big observer now.
I think it could be. I think it could be both. But certainly, I mean, when you get to retirement age, usually you're a little bit older. And um, I think by actively thinking about that's like active
Right.
listening, actively thinking about it, you're going to engage differently with people then. And you're just listening, right?
I'm processing because what you said I think was kind of pretty deep and very true.
Oh.
And I hadn't, yeah.
Yeah, so when we're retired and we are putting on new tread, trying to figure out what our new life is like and where we want to go on this adventure, we need to, and I think it's like a natural thing. We sit back and we listen, and it's amazing how many more things you understand about the world around you, or about what you're interested in, or what might even spark an interest in you. She's processing
I
again.
am. And this is what I'm saying. This is a perfect example. My silence is because I'm listening better than I've ever listened in my life. And I'm taking in what you're saying, not just like to get on to the next thing. It's like, that rings true. So it's actually a full conversation going on in my head about what you just said. And I think there is a very different change in myself too. You're right. As a teacher, we're trying to get information out, 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 out. And maybe this is the time in our life where we're taking it in, in.
Yeah. And I hear you. And I'm just, kind of teasing you a little bit because, dead air on an audio broadcast is not what one's looking for, but you're processing. That's so important. That's great.
Because I was actively listening.
All right, now we're moving on. Our topic of the day is lifelong learning.
I never want to stop. I realized, and I think that's maybe why we got into teaching in the first place, because I love to learn. I eat it up. I have a library of self-help books, and I eat each one. It's like candy to me. And I realized this next adventure that I'm on towards having a business has had me learn all about the history of Cuba and the United States, starting from the time that Columbus came all the way up till now. And I'm learning it, and it's been fantastic because all the skills I used to teach kids, I'm doing myself. All the things I learned in college to take notes, I'm doing. And I love it. And I can't get enough of it. And I still have a list of all the things I want to learn. Like, I'm Norwegian. And now I really want to learn my Norwegian language, how to read it and write it and speak it better. Like, I can't get enough of it. I just want to say learning. I love it.
Well, we totally relate on this one. You're talking social studies, you're talking
Oh,
language,
you're
and those
right.
are the things. Yeah, that's what
That was our
we
thing. We bonded
yeah,
on the
we
social studies. And what do I love? You're right.
yep. We were doing
Oh my
Spanish
gosh.
immersion, and so everything was through Spanish and English, a bilingual program, but also we really love social studies because you can tie everything in, well, almost
Everything.
everything to it, writing, reading, listening, history, of course. But also, even we would find ways to relate it to math or do something in PE that was
And
physical, something in,
science. Maybe the
yes,
contribution of the culture, you know?
yes, and
Yeah.
the arts and
Oh
everything.
God.
So yeah, I hear you. For me in retirement, it was um, eh, like we talked about before. I fell right into the pandemic, and what am I going to do at home by myself? Well, eBay. I had to learn. First of all, get over the reticence of actually trying eBay, do
Mm.
it, and I did. It was a big learning curve. We had technology, you had your figuring out how to market things in the way that it would sell, and it
In
was good because
competition and to sell
yeah,
within a competitive market.
and it wasn't bad. I learned a lot of ins and outs, and in fact, the other day I was getting my hair cut, and I was talking to the gal cutting my hair, and she's like, "I'm an eBay seller too," and we just had the most delightful conversation about all the things, the ins and outs that you wouldn't think that you would have to learn, but it was delightful. That was really cool. And then, the other thing I had mentioned before, the previous podcast, was how I was educating myself for winemaking.
Yeah.
I produced a number. I
Good
studied
wine, by
it.
the way. I'm just going to put in a little
Oh,
plug.
thank you. Yeah, home winemaking is really fun. I wanted to do more, but I found that physically it takes way too much to
Wow.
process a half ton of grapes. All the physicality of not only picking up the harvest, but then to process it, to get it in the barrel,
I
to
remember your bathtub full of it.
well, those were carboys, but in the barrel, you had to rack the barrel, and that means emptying the whole barrel and cleaning out the barrel and then putting it back in, and just the physicality, and then the bottling and the lifting of the cases of wine. It was too much to continue, but all the I took classes at UC Extension with Mondavi, and it was fabulous. I mean, learning chemistry, learning marketing, learning
All of it.
viticulture, and all of the
Wow.
things that have to do with enology, sensory analysis. It is. It was exciting. It is exciting to continue to do that, but not to do the productions. It was just too much physically to do that. Um, I was fortunate enough to get two vintages down and into the state fair where I got silver and bronze, and so that was exciting.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it was exciting. It was fun. And then
Yeah.
to do the artwork,
Wow.
one's called Greyhound Grenache, and the other one's named after my other greyhound. It's really fun, and the artwork and the photography, which I've always been interested in. So,
That just reminded me. So you're talking about the labels,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Are you talking about
yeah.
do you remember this? I'm sorry, we have to flash back in time. That's what happens when you get two friends that have known each other for a long time. Remember we made beer and
Oh,
you used to make
yeah,
the
yeah, we
beer
did. We
labels.
did. Yep,
You made really,
yep.
yeah. Anyway, it just brought me. So doesn't it kind of make sense? It's segued into from the beer
into
to the
yeah,
wine.
and wine is much more refined, of course. So
Well, of course, we were at a different stage in our life then.
yeah,
We had beer and pretzels. Now we want wine and blue charcuterie boards.
I love it. So what else are you in? I mean, you're talking about skiing. You're talking about learning history. What else are you retiring? What other skills have you used since leaving the education profession?
Okay, we have to go back to the skiing. It flutters my heart. I want to say that I had not been skiing in over 30 years. And I was a little fearful. I It was right before I moved back up to my mountain town, and my daughter had never been. And I went on the bunny slopes with her, and I knew that'd be fine. And I realized how comfortable I felt. It's so comfortable that I said, 16-year-old daughter, put your skis in between mine, hold on to me and follow me down this hill. And I'm doing this perfect slalom. I'm like, whoa, with a 16-year-old behind me. So I had the courage to go and take the intermediate slope that I hadn't done in 30 years.
That's
And I got
insane.
to tell you, and this is where I think I've got to put in a plug. I love being older. And some people fight it. I think it's beautiful because I skied the best I'd ever done. And it's because it's no longer about racing down the hill. It's about doing it calmly and taking your time. I don't think I'd ever skied better in my life.
And you modeled that for your
So,
kid.
and the point I want to make about the learning is it's something you don't forget. I thought I would be starting from scratch. It's riding a bike. It's like you'll always know how to walk.
Muscle memory. Yep.
Amazing. I just want to say that is just amazing. So I have not yet broken a bone, twisted, whatever. It's the snowboarders that are fast and furious that scare me.
Wonderful. Knock on some
I've
wood as
learned.
you say that, okay? All right. And then this brings us to our podcasting, you know. Um,
Oh, yeah.
podcasting, I know that you've done some studies on this and taken some classwork.
Hmm.
I just like, okay, this is something I want to do. I'm kind of going back to my roots because I studied television radio production
Yes.
way back in the day. And I have to say, the technology is so incredibly different. I mean, we were still spinning records by hand, like DJ style. No, not quite. But the technological roots are there's some parallel, but what I've learned in education with technology has helped not be afraid to approach the
Oh,
digital stuff, and that's been pretty cool. So I love the idea of using some skills that we've acquired during life, applying them to what we're doing now in retirement, and learning from that, going from that. And this podcasting adventure is pretty cool because you think about music. I had to, you're going to have to, how do you make music, and marketing and writing, and all the different things that you got to solve in order to make this digital thing happen.
I'd like to say that the whole COVID teaching at home on a computer almost broke my spirit. It almost broke all of our spirits. But I have to tell you, the irony of it all is all those skills have gotten me to the place where I am today, where I have been building websites. I've been figuring out how to do things like Square and get payments when I'm out. And it was really those, and Zoom. Like Zoom is nothing. I get it now. And there are people that have never had to use it, so they don't even know Zoom. But, that's where I think teaching in that situation forced technology on me, because by my own desire, I would never have tried. So that's the good thing about education too, and learning, right? Now I've learned these skills and I can apply it elsewhere.
Well, it's true. When we're in education, there were always people, especially those of us in the older generations, people would say, "Oh, they're not interested in technology. They don't know how to use it." And of course, there were some young gurus that you just like, "Oh, thank you for filling me in on this or that." But, you're right. COVID made people have to become technologically oriented, at least open the book on understanding it. And the more you use it, the more you see that it's intrinsic. So you take what you learn and you can apply it to the next level and just have some confidence in it and use it. It's amazing.
So I think this is what the truth is about technology. I remember one of our colleagues. Do you remember Melly?
Huh?
Okay. And everybody would go to Melly about 10 years ago because she knew everything. And she just said, you just got to play around with it. And you know what? She's right. It's like the reason we look at all these youth and we think they're just amazing. No, they're not. They had so much time on their hands. They didn't have jobs. They didn't have things they had to do. So they sat around bored and they took the time to touch every little button. And so what I've learned is our generation sits down and we want to have the answer right then and there because we don't have time to sit around and play with buttons. But if we can take the time to sit around and play with those buttons, it is kind of intrinsic. And it isn't as overwhelming as we think, but you have to have the time. But when you have a due date for something that has to be done, that's when we fall apart, flip out, we call everybody, and the other little piece I want to share. So I learned at our old school, we had the computer lady. So I started observing every time I went in and asked a question, she often did not know. And so she would just get on and start Googling things. And that, again, when we were home with COVID and we had to teach, that's what I started to do. And I thought it was amazing because you can find all kinds of tools and ways. You can do videos, you can have people do audio, you can have written instructions, but it's all about the
Yeah,
Googling.
absolutely.
Find
Yep,
it.
yep. And not being afraid to do that, and becoming more refined in
Oh,
how you do your searches online so you don't get frustrated.
yeah, that's true. It's all about wording, but I love words, so that's not a problem. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, I remember this one guy. My daughter's friend, and we used to play this game where it was back in the day when this was still new, where you do Wikipedia and you'd have to do a Wikipedia search to find the search for the next thing until you got to the subject that was the target that you were all trying to get to. And what a
Ooh.
great skill for young people to do. They did this intrinsically again. As an adult, this was kind of a fun game. When you presented it as a game, it was a fun way to get to the little one bit of information you did through the links of the other sites. It
Oh.
was pretty cool.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yep. Thank you, Stefan.
And
All right.
here we go again. We love learning, right?
Yes.
Just that in
Yes.
itself, to want to learn how to get to the one answer. Like I don't know. I think when you're a teacher, you just can't leave it.
That's how it is. So lifelong learning, and I remember as a teacher, on day one telling kids that I'm a lifelong learner. That's the one thing I want to pass on to all of you. And
Yeah.
I remember at back to school night saying the same thing to the parents. This is about everyone learning and hopefully finding it interesting. There's no reason to be bored about anything because you keep learning, and that's what it's about.
Well, I think maybe another topic in the future would be about boredom in schools. I think
Or
that's a whole other
retirement.
topic.
Boredom and retirement. There
Oh
we go.
God, boredom in retirement, boredom in teaching. Yeah, I think we got a good topic. Write that one down. So.
That wraps up this episode of Retired. Thanks for listening. Next time, we'll continue our adventure in retirement by discussing boredom.
Until then, please feel free to lend your feedback or ask questions by emailing us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. You're invited to follow us on Facebook at Retired Podcast New Tread. Check the show notes for links and contact information.
Retired is co-hosted by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Please click to subscribe so that you won't miss your chance to join our retired road trip.